Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the collaboration space from AVI-SPL, and I'm your host, Nancy Lucier. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of quality audio in your hybrid spaces. And with all the changes going on, keeping those spaces future ready. And joining me today to help me discuss this is Simon Holley from Sennheiser. Simon, thanks so much for joining me today. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Nancy. My pleasure. It's an honor to be here.
Great, you're welcome. And for those who haven't met you, can you talk to us a little bit about what you do at Sennheiser?
Okay, I'm Simon Holley. I've been with Sennheiser 11 years now. My first 6 was based in the UK, and then the last have been in the US as Vice President of Sales for Business Communications for the Americas. That's covering Canada, USA, and South and Latin America.
Oh, just a little bit of territory.
Exactly, yes.
And maybe, Simon, you want to share a little bit about Sennheiser in general?
Yeah, it's been a great time for us. This is our 80th year. So we were formed back in 1945. We're a third generation privately owned company. So the company was originally founded by Fritz Sennheiser and is currently run by Daniel and Andreas Sennheiser, the grandson of Fritz.
That's amazing that it's still in the family after 80 years.
Absolutely, yes. And we're very, very proud of that indeed.
Wonderful. So, Simon, let's jump into our topic. We know that hybrid spaces are essential today. Everyone is pretty much following a hybrid work schedule. How does Sennheiser plan on evolving for that unknown and the ever-changing future?
Yeah, that's a great question, Nancy. I think our big thing is our TeamConnect family of products. We've got our TeamConnect Ceiling 2. We've got our fairly newly released TeamConnect Ceiling Medium, which we actually got a new generation to that coming out this month with a square ceiling tile for it. And then we've got our TeamConnect bars, the small bar and the medium bar. So this really gives us a solution to fit any kind of meeting space.
So it sounds like there's a lot of solutions to just make it a little bit easier for everyone to plan for great audio in their meeting spaces.
Exactly that, yeah. We've got something we feel that can be either plug or play with both those solutions or be part of a larger integrated solution.
Mm-hmm. And, we mentioned that meetings being hybrid. So there's some people on site, some people are remote, and we know we have video, but I think I know what the answer is, but what is more important, audio or video?
Oh, that's a very contentious question, but I love it. Obviously, for me, it's audio, of course. But I think one of the positives that the pandemic gave us was it really showed us that we could do a lot more meetings in the virtual world, but it also showed us the importance of audio. If you lost video, the meeting could continue, but if you lost audio, that was it. That was the end of the meeting. So I think although both are very, very important, I think you have a much better collaborative experience when it's video as well. To me, audio is the most important because the meeting can continue.
I'm not surprised, but thank you so much. Certainly can't have a meeting without audio. And you mentioned since the pandemic, there's been so much movement forward and acceleration in technical solutions, speakers, microphones, cameras, everything coming to market in a rush, and then constantly being updated. What is Sennheiser's differentiation among its competitors?
I'd say the biggest really is our dynamic beamforming. The ability to be able to have plug and play. You don't need to set up certain zones. If you don't want to set up certain zones, of course, you've got that ability if you want to set up exclusion zones or priority zones. But the fact that it can be plug or play if you wish it to be, and the fact that it's completely versatile. It doesn't matter then if the presenter starts moving around, turns to a whiteboard, or the configuration of the room changes. You haven't got to then reprogram all of the pickup pattern you might have otherwise programmed. With one dynamic beam, it will move around the space, picking up whoever's speaking and multiple people speaking at the same time.
I like that because if I'm in the room, that gives me a little bit of freedom. If I'm a speaker, if I'm a presenter and I like to move around, or if I like to go to the whiteboard or go back to the screen, I don't have to worry about that with the beamforming technology. I know that my voice is going to be picked up so everyone will be able to hear me in the room and on the far end, correct?
Exactly, yes. And in a classroom environment, it's particularly important. It's one thing when the teacher or the professor is presenting to the class, but then, of course, he turns to the whiteboard and starts speaking whilst he's facing the whiteboard. And our products do particularly well in that environment.
Perfect. And we mentioned, being future ready and constant changes. Can you talk to me a little bit about how Sennheiser is structured so that there's always meeting the needs of AVI-SPL as a partner and of our customers as well as these demands grow and shift because it's an ever-changing industry today?
Yeah, there's two key things I'll probably say about this. The first being that our business strategy in business communications within Sennheiser is what we call the business triangle. So when we look at our business, the majority of projects, they involve obviously an end user, often a consultant, and then of course an integrator. So we've set our team up to be really approaching that triangle, those three entities. So we've got business development managers which engage with our end users and create demand and awareness. We've got technical applications engineers that engage with consultants and of course design engineers and support the integrators' technical needs. And then we have our sales team, which engage directly with the integrators. So that's one side of it. The other side is we're a global channel-based business as well. And I think that brings a lot of value for particularly global rollouts.
Yeah, and since AVI-SPL is global as well, I think our partnership works very well together so that our customers, our joint customers, will have a consistent experience anywhere in the world. So I like how that partnership works.
Exactly. And we're very, very proud of our global partnership with AVI-SPL. And I think just about every office you've got globally, we've got a really, really great relationship and can support any kind of business rollout or project rollout, no matter how large or how small, and no matter how demanding.
Perfect. And I went to our sales meeting this year, a little earlier this year, and I had a little surprise from Sennheiser. Can you talk a little bit about that?
The Sales Acceleration Summit, that was fabulous this year. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We had the honor of being able to provide over 50 channels of wireless product. But to make it that special little occasion, we also provided handheld microphones that were custom painted in the Sennheiser's in the AVI-SPL's new logo. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were happy to showcase that new brand that we had just rolled out, during the timing of that meeting. So we appreciate that partnership. Thank you very much. And what did you hear, why is that, such a hit and why is the evolution of, wireless digital, how does that help with scalability and ease of use? This was a live event where we had to make this happen, but there's some different use cases for this also, including higher ed. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, I think one of the things what made us particularly proud of this event was initially we loaned the channel as a wireless microphone in order to be able to be part of this event. But then everybody was that impressed with how easy to use they were, how simple the frequency configuration was, that in actual fact, the company that ran the event ended up buying all 50 channels. They were that impressed. I think that's testament to how good and how solid our wireless technology is. It's very simple to set up. You don't need to be an RF guru to be able to do the wireless coordination. It does much of it itself. Spacing of channels is very simple. You get many channels in a very crowded RF environment. And it's things like that that's really made us excel in both corporate and education and, of course, performance spaces as well, in places where it's very challenging to have the spare spectrum.
You keep going back to ease of use, Simon, and I love that because even if we are a little well versed in audio, we don't need to have a specialized degree to get these things to work, and we can get up and running fairly quickly. And of course, working with AVI-SPL can help you do that even faster. So thank you for sharing all of that. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, Simon. What can you share with me as to what's coming from Sennheiser the second half of the year?
The second half of the year, of course, we've got various trade shows. We've got various events we do with AVI-SPL and other partners. And then our flagship thing is our Connect and Collaborate Roadshow. It's a roadshow we do not just with Sennheiser, we do it with our alliance partners as well, some major brands within the industry. And then we do various locations around the US and Canada where we really showcase everything, all the technologies that are involved. And so far, that's been very well received.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. And a lot of information about TeamConnect and other Sennheiser solutions and wireless connections. And Simon, a lot of information for our customers. So I thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely my pleasure, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And we'll speak again, I'm sure. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us again today. And don't forget to follow our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode of The Collaboration Space. And you can also search for the audio feed on your favorite podcast app. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time in the collaboration space. For more information, visit avispl.com/Sennheiser.